This is Tay from Astros Auto Repairs. Can you dig it? Today we have a 1997 Saturn. We're going to show you how to do AC compressor and recharge it.
Alright, as you can see, the AC compressor is located right here. What we want to do is make sure there's no freon in the system. We're going to evacuate it. There's probably nothing in here, so we're just going to let it out, hook up the gauges to it. So we're going to show you how to hook up the gauges. And the customer's got an Everco 57526. Looks like a remanufactured. You can tell remanufactured by the color of the AC compressor. Like this one's black, like it's painted. New comes silver. Actually, there's to say around the box, remanufactured. Usually, a place will not give you a warranty unless you change the receiver dryer and orifice tube. But I guess we're gonna just change the compressor on this one. All right, we're gonna get us some tools and then we're gonna hook this up. We'll be right back. Okay, the first thing we're gonna do here, we gotta remove the belt. If you look down there on the tensioner, belt tensioner down there, it's a 15mm bolt. Let's get our wrench on that. And you're gonna turn it clockwise, right, towards the front of the engine. It's gonna loosen up the belt. And then you're going to take it off. Now, if you have a hard time reaching down there or getting a wrench, you want to get you another wrench and hook it up onto the end of that wrench. Makes it a lot easier. See that? Now hold that in place. Tay, while I got this tensioner up, take that belt off that compressor. Okay, now I'm gonna leave the wrenches right there so it's easy to put back on, and we got the belt out of the way. The next thing we're gonna do is hook up the gauges so we can relieve any kind of freon that's in the system. All right, we'll be right back. Okay, first thing we're gonna do, we got our gauge set over here and the freon. Now, first thing you just must do is know which side is low side and high side. So what I'm going to do here is put this camera in a good position. Now, you got two fittings on an AC system. A small one and a large one. The small one is the low side. The big one, of course, is the high side. Now, when you're charging up a system, you always want to charge it up from the low side. Alright, so what we're going to do is hook up your gauges. Now on your gauges, you have a blue and a red. The blue is the low side, the red is the high side. Just like air couplings, to hook these up, especially on systems 134A, you pull back on the coupling, put it on, lock it into place. So we're just going to hook this one up, push it back, lock down on it, and that ain't done yet. Now I'm still not actually into the system. Now to get into the system, I gotta turn this clockwise all the way till it stops. It pushes down a Schrader valve, and now the system is ready to be charged up, or I can take this stuff out of the system. Now make sure you can see what I'm doing over here. Now what I want to do next is I want to loosen up the middle one. Make sure everything is off. That's just what's in the line. Now you can see our gauge is almost down to 0, which I know there's hardly anything in this system. So what I'm going to do is open up the low side. You can see that nothing came out. So I know this system is pretty much empty. So I want to make sure I tighten back up the middle line. This is the feed line going to the tank. Take off our low side. Now the next thing we're going to do is take off both lines. Now on both lines on this, there's a 10mm bolt up under here and a 10mm bolt right here. So let's take those off and swing those off to the side. Tay, you got that?
Yes.
Now when you do these things, you got to make sure that this bolt, this socket, is on there flush to loosen it up. Like that. Because if you don't have it flush, you will strip that out. There you go. All right, when you take out the one side off, what you do, you see what he's doing. He's putting the bolt back in place, so that way he knows that bolt goes right there. Bolts ain't leaning nowhere or anything. All right, now he just disconnected. Now, good question for you while you watching. Tay, have you ever done this before?
No.
All right, that line you just took off, what side is that?
That is the high side.
Exactly, that's the high side. Okay, let's move the camera over. Hold that. Is that loose?
Yeah.
It is? Let me see. Okay. I know these bolts are kind of tight up there. We're gonna take a break. Let Tay take that off, cause Tay gotta put some off on, cause these gnats are crazy out here. All right, we'll be right back. Okay, we're back. What I'm gonna do is take you now. We got the lines off the AC compressor. I got it disconnected, electrical connector disconnected. Now we got some bolts here. We got, get down here and see this. We got one bolt down here. Looks like a 13. Another 13. And on the back, it looks like we got two 10s. So we got 4 bolts. Let's get those bolts off. Well, Tay gonna take them bolts off. And compressor should come right up.
You said 13 what?
A 13 and a 10. Now, of course, Tay can't put those bolts back in place, so those 2 bolts right there, he's going to have to set to the side someplace. Okay, now he's got the 2 13mm bolts in the front of the compressor. Whoa! If that thing slips off, you're gonna bust your hands up against that bracket. Yeah, so you got to be very careful when you loosen that up, because if that slips, you're gonna bust your knuckles. So be careful when you're doing it.
Oh, she can do it now.
Huh?
No, she can do it now.
Let me loosen it up.
Yes.
All right. A good way of doing this is you want to make sure that that socket is up there, and when you loosen it, don't grab it like this, because if I slip, I'm gonna bust my knuckles up against there. So what I'm gonna do is open hand. See that? So if it would slip, I had to ratchet to protect my hand. We got that one loose. And we got that one loose. All right, Tay, go ahead and take those two bolts out. As a matter of fact, I just didn't see that. Tay, actually, before you take that one out, actually there's one right up under here. A third one, I didn't see that. So if you're doing this at home, you get right up under there. There's that other one. And that's what I'm gonna try to do is get a wrench to loosen that one up, because that's like in a tight spot.
So what if I cut
nah, you want to take off the one down there, but leave this one in, so that keeps the compressor steady while we take off that bottom one. Okay, now to get to that bolt down there, we got us a 1/2" drive wrench, kind of short. What we're going to do is put the wrench down in there, put it onto the bolt. Now we're going to have to pick up on it, give it a little pressure. That bolt is tight, so we're going to have to try to get both hands in there and loosen that up. So let's try to get both. Watch out for 1 second, Tay. Okay, we got that loose. See if we go ahead and take this bolt out of there. Tay, where's your other bolts at? Up here? Mm-hmm. All right. All right, Tay, take out that last bolt on the top. And then we should be able to take that compressor right out. Alright, Tay just took the last bolt out. Alright, Tay, let's see if that compressor will swing out of there. Perfect. Alright, there you go. You got the compressor out. Everything looks, well, it's a compressor. Alright, let's go over here. And they're going to take out the old one and just lay it down on the ground. And we're going to have to cut off the plastic, and we're going to match it up to make sure it's the same as the old one that's coming out. Alright, take cutting it open. Alright, now what you want to do next is you want to put these right next to each other. You want to make sure everything looks like identical. The same compressors. They look the same, Tay?
Yep.
Alright, now.
Except for one rusty, one brand new.
Alright, also now, new compressors come with caps. This guy's with 13mm bolts up there. And on the back, got another one right there. Now, even though it says add oil here, we're not going to add oil there. We're going to add it into the line, which I'm going to show you in a second. So what we want to do is, we're going to take this off.
What, spray painted?
Yeah, it is spray painted. This is rebuilt. Rebuilt. They take an old one, they'll take this one and rebuild it, and sell it again. All right, Tay, you go ahead, set that one, take that one, and set it in there. And start bolting it up. Okay, what you want to do is get one of your bolts. So when you get one of them holes lined up, let me get out your way. Let me get on this side. Okay, now sometimes it's kind of difficult to get that in there because what happens is that paint makes it kind of a tight fit. You got a bolt on your hand? Is them lined up?
No.
These gnats bothering my ear. Once you get one lined up, the rest is going to be pretty easy. You know what, Tay, let's try to hold this thing straight in there. Yeah, you try to hold that straight in there.
The off ain't working.
Huh?
The off ain't working right now. Cutting the off.
Okay, let me see if that goes in. All right, we got that one started. All right, Tay, let's get the rest of those bolts in there. Hey, this thing ain't twisting. All right, so get all your bolts in there, and when we come back, we're gonna start tightening them up. All right, we got all our bolts in. Tay's gonna tighten up all the bolts, 5 all together, 3 13mm in the front, and 2 10s in the back. Now wait, while Tay is doing that, what we're gonna go over here to the side over here. Okay, and what we're gonna do, we're gonna replace some O-rings on the 2 lines. Now on both lines, you're gonna see 2 little O-rings. One small and one large. Get you a small screwdriver, pop them O-rings off, because we got a new ones come with the compressor. Okay. Take my glove off. Got a large one for the high side. And we got a small one for the low side. Now, very important that you got to have an adequate amount of oil in this system. A good one I always use, the PAG 100 is like a medium viscosity. It's good for all systems pretty much. And what I did was, as you can see, as soon as I got the bottle, I marked it, so I know how much oil to put in each car. So now you can see right now I'm at that line, so I'm gonna put about that much in there. I'm gonna pour it in through the low side. Pour it down the hose, let it drain down a little bit, and then we're gonna hook that line up. As soon as Tay finished tightening them up, we're gonna pop off the 2 caps. 1, 2, so we can get them lines installed. All right, we'll be right back. All right, Tay's tightening up one more bolt. In the meantime, while he's tightening up that, we're going to take off these covers. Okay. Doing these covers, there's a little bit of breaking in oil they got on there. So you're going to take a little bit on your finger, around to the side, put it around the fitting. And get those installed. Get our 2 bolts from the old compressor. Now, I almost made a mistake there. I forgot something. So, you know, let's take this back off. Stick the bolt in there just a little bit. On the low line, I'm going to pick this line up. What we're going to have to do here, put some oil in it. So I'm going to take the low line, hold it up in the air. Take our oil, we're going to pour it in there. We're almost there to that line. A little bit more. Good. Now we let that drain down for a second. So when we put it back up there, it won't come out of there. And what you want to do is be ready to tighten that line up. Okay, let's tighten that bolt up. Okay, now we're going to hook up the high side. Okay, we're good to go. Get our connector plugged up. Okay, we got our bolts tightened up, connector on. The next thing we're going to do is go back over here where our belt is. Make sure the belt is on all the pulleys. Bring our tensioner up. You can see down below our belt is not on all the way. So what we're going to do is go down there and take this back off and make sure that belt is on there. Pop that belt on. Okay, you want to make sure your belt is on all the grooves, because if not, you'll wear that belt right out and it'll mess up. Get our handy dandy flashlight here, stream light. Perfect. Everything's lined up. What? Oh yeah, everything is not lined up. All right, Tay, I'm going to tighten this. I'm going to loosen it up, and you line that back up on there. Get that on the water pump pulley. There you go. All right, now we're lined up. That was a good thing you saw that. That was good. All right. Next we're going to do is hook up our low side. Tay, you know how to do that? Nope, that's the high side.
You got this use it.
Huh?
You got this use it.
The blue one? Uh-huh. Nope, that's the high side. You ain't paying attention, Tay. Nope. Is it cooked on? But the only way, we ain't gonna turn it down yet. Just leave it just like that. Now what you're gonna do here is we're gonna hook up, let's back up right here. And what you wanna do is position the gauges where it's convenient for you. Make sure everything's out of the way. We'll hook up our gauges right there. Now 134 has to be in a liquid state. So what we're gonna have to do here, make sure this valve is off. Make sure we tighten up here. Turn our tank on. Turn the bottle upside down. All right, now close up, open up that Schrader valve. Make sure you can see this up here. All right, before we even start the car, we're going to introduce some Freon into the system. Good. Shut it off. Now what we're going to do is start the car up and cut the AC on. All right, we'll be right back. All right, we're going to go over here. Look at this, got a wasp. That wasp want to sting the mess out of somebody. All right, let's find out which key this is. Let's see, this is a Ford. Maybe this one's it. All right. All right. Now what you want to do now? Cut your AC on. You want to have it recirculating. Let's cut this. Make sure it's all the way cool. Make sure it's recirculating the air inside. And what we're going to do is roll down the window just a little bit, you know, just to make sure it's not an automatic locking doors. Let's go ahead. As you notice, the AC compressor has not kicked in yet. That's because we got to put a little more Freon in there. There it is, starting to kick in. And watch our gauge. Now the optimum PSI we're going to be looking for is 30. But now that's on a normal day, about 70 to 80 degrees. But the hotter it gets, I'm looking at a higher number. So for me to properly charge this system, I'm gonna charge it up about 35. And right now the AC compressor's in. I mean, the clutch is kicked in. Our gauge is exactly 30. Now we're gonna hook up a temperature gauge for the vents. Be right back. Okay, now you see what we got here is a little temperature gauge. Let's cut it on. Right now it's reading at 96 degrees, so we're gonna stick it right here in the vent. Now, cool this vent off a little. Make sure it stays right there. And it's difficult to kind of, there we go. Now we're gonna bring that temperature down till about 50, 40 degrees. All right, so let's go back out there. We're gonna add a little more Freon into the system, and that temperature's gonna start dropping. Okay, here we are. Make sure our line is tight up there. Let's get a little more Freon into the system. Like I said, because of the temperature out here, I'm looking for about 35 psi. Fluctuating around there. So now what we're gonna do, we're gonna let that even out. We're gonna go back up. Take it up and take the blue, man. I'll tell you one way for it. Alright, we're gonna go over here. 94.1. Alright. What I wanna do is bring this idle up a little bit. And once I bring it up, the gauge out there is actually going to go down. So what I'm trying to do is just recycle that system through. Okay, let's go out there and check out where we're at. Okay, we're out here. We got our high side hooked up. We just want to check to make sure that side is good. Our high side is about 135, 140, which is good. Low side is about 30, but notice how it's dropping down a little bit, which means that as long as the Freon circulating through the system with the oil, that's going to continue to keep on dropping. Now as we go over here, look at the gauge, and we're at 70 degrees coming out right now, so we still got ways to go. So we let the car run. Now usually what you want to do when you do the car, if you ain't afraid to lose a lot of water, what you want to do is take a water hose and you want to spray the condenser. The condenser is like a radiator. It's part of right there in the front of the radiator. What you want to do is spray some water on that, and it'll bring that low side down a lot. Or you want to bring the idle up on the car, but we're going to do it this way. You see our temperature, see our low side is going down, so I know I can add a little more Freon to that. It's a back and forth process. So we're going to keep on doing that. We're going to let the gauge come down and idle off, level off down to 30. It's probably going to go below again. And as we keep on adding Freon, keep an eye on that high side. See, now we're down to 67. So we keep on going down there. You feel it? Yeah, we got cool air coming out of there. So we're going to keep on doing that. And as I said, what I'm looking for is about, I'm pretty sure about 35. Now we're going down to 30 again. AC, the compressor's on, you don't even hear it. It's a good compressor. So let's just keep going back and forth to that. Let it run for a couple minutes. As you can see, it's already dropping below 30 a little bit. So I can add some now if I want, but I'm gonna let it go down a little bit more. All right, we'll be right back. Okay, I got tape with the idle going up about 1500. Hurry up the process. We're looking good. We got 200 on the high side. It's a little high, but it's hot out here. We got 20 on the low. That's because we got a high RPM. But on the temperature, we're at 55 degrees. That is great. All right, especially because of the temperature out here is kind of hot. All right, Tay, let go to idle. As you can see, let it go. I'm exactly where I want it to be. 35, and our high side is actually lower now. That's what I'm talking about. That's where we're at. We're coming around about 55, and as he's driving along, it's going to get down to about 50 degrees, maybe even colder, especially because it's recirculating the air inside the vehicle. All right, let's wrap this up. All right, everything came out great. Now disconnecting these lines, the low side you want to disconnect when the car is running. We're going to shut that off. Shut the high side off. Disconnect the low side. Hook it back up on your gauges. Then we're going to shut the vehicle off and disconnect the high side. Okay, be very careful. Disconnect the high side. Hook it up, turn your tank back over. Shut it off. Now there should be caps on this, especially because sometimes these vehicles leak a little bit. So we're gonna make sure we get some caps and put up here. Alright, there you go. That's how you change the AC compressor and recharge the system. Make sure you keep an eye on the PSI on the gauges, especially high side. Low side really don't go that high. But if you have any problems, put in the comments and I'll try to help you out as best I can. You up?
And this is Timmy and Tay from Astros Over Repairs. If we can't repair, nobody can.